Alrighty, you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can.
Alrighty, sounds great, fantastic, and I think we're just gonna get all started. We'll use the Angie background to start off today,
All right.
cause it's purple and pink and white, and I love it. It's sparkly.
Indeed.
Um, so how's everyone doing? It's Sunday. It's the beginning of a new week and the beginning of a new podcast schedule. Temporarily, of course, until
Indeed.
I actually kind of get into the groove of this new job. It's gonna be a little bit till I'm like full blown ready to work two jobs effectively as a creator and a electrician. You see the smile on my face, and I'm in pain. So let's do a little bit of catching up. How you doing, Sam?
I'm doing all right. It's been a hell of a week for me. Kind of been in a little bit of uh a little bit of things have been going on.
Yeah.
But kind of needed a emergency therapy session, but haven't been able to get one. But thankfully, uh, day after tomorrow being my birthday, um, and day after tomorrow is therapy session. So thank God for that. But yeah, tomorrow my birthday, turning 40 damn 1 years old. So
Ooh.
yeah,
Well,
excited about
because
that.
I'm most definitely gonna forget early happy birthday. I actually,
Thank you.
funny enough, my friend, like a good friend of mine, just had their birthday, and so basically, I forget to talk to them throughout every part of the year. Actually, I'll pull up the message so I can say verbatim what I said. Um, pull up my friend here. I
Better put
said,
my
"Here's
hobo
your,"
gloves on.
he said, "Here's your yearly happy birthday, you old man." And that's basically how it goes. Like anyone that is in my real life, like not my real life, but outside of the internet life, knows I am terrible with staying in touch. I can't do it. I'm not social, not really. The amount of social energy I have is devoted to work and uh, Discord. And I could do I could hang out in Discord for hours on end because I could just mute myself and walk away when I want to.
Yeah,
Like it's that
yeah.
simple for me. So it's like my social battery just doesn't exist outside of the internet. Um, and also, just because I think this would be absolutely hilarious to kind of just break it down in the most simple way. I am not a people person, believe it or not. Like I come off as super friendly and cool and just want to be everyone's friend, but like out in public, I looked and I feel bad about this, right? Like I feel really bad. But this woman comes up to me and she's like, "Hey, my daughter really likes your hair." And I'm like, "You can fuck off."
Jeez.
Don't come up to me asking about like I don't give a shit. Like if this younger child had basically been like, "Oh, your hair's so pretty," I would be like, "Oh, thank you." And back in my head, be like, "Why are you talking to me?" But an adult, like, do I look approachable? I got long hair. I look like a hippie. I look like a bum half the time, and I do it specifically so people will fuck off. Be like, let's not go near this guy. He looks like he might have like a knife in his boot or something.
It's a warning system basically.
It's a warning system. Leave me alone. I'm not friendly. That's an exaggeration. That's not true. Like most of the time, I have the patience to deal with people. Um, but it doesn't turn out that way. And I'm actually using this as a segue to kind of talk about what I wanted to talk about this
Okay.
podcast. You know how hard it is to find a corporate entity that does legitimately good things? Oh my god. Okay, so
Oh yeah.
the nearest thing I could find to like a big gaming company that did something that's just, out of the kindness of their heart was donations to charity. I don't want to talk about that. I'm gonna be real with you guys. Like, cause we
No.
got like the Bill
Yeah.
and
No.
Melinda Gates Foundation, Jeff Bezos and his crap. Yeah, cool. They donated 2 million. Like, I think in between like EA, Blizzard, and a couple others, they donated like 5 million to charity, which honestly is not a lot considering how much they make.
No. Not a
But
lot.
that is their taxes, effectively, that they have to pay every year. So they get
Right.
it as a tax write off. It was really difficult to find like his. I know lately I've been ragging on a lot of shitty things in the gaming community lately, and I really wanted to bring forward with something positive. What I did end up finding was what communities have done, and this is going to be a little bit like, so there is a very specific creator that I've been interacting with, and we kind of not really hang out, but I just interact with him quite a bit. Deadly Dill Gaming, who is, I believe, a youth pastor, who is a ginger bearded crazy man, as I like to call him. He's like, he exemplifies Christianity. Christianity should be, in my opinion. But furthermore, he doesn't do it out of the kindness of. He doesn't do it because it's what God wants him to do. He does it because he legitimately cares about people. So it was like him and like Dr. Lupo, Crystal, I think his name was, or Laser Beam. All these other people have been donating for children's hospitals lately. They've been doing charity streams, and it was insane. It was insane because Laserbeam donated to Dr. Lupo's charity run, his charity stream. While he was doing his own charity stream, he donated, I think it was like $500,000
Wow.
live on stream. He's like, I'm sending over
Wow.
$500,000, and I thought that was awesome. Deadly Dill does a lot of these toy runs. He does charity streams where literally everything he makes goes towards what he's like, on top of what they donate. What he personally makes, he also gives over. So I kind of want to give those two specific. Dr. Lupo doesn't need a shout out from someone with 3 viewers, but I do want to give these other individuals a shout out for that, because when I went in, this was a while ago. Like, this is new, this is old news, but it was when I figured it out, when I saw it for myself online, I was like, that's insane, because I truly believe that children are our future. Like, I try to exemplify that. It's even why when I don't want to interact with a kid, if some 5-year-old comes up to me with a fake phone and hands it to me like someone's on the phone, you rest assured I'm gonna fucking answer
You
that.
answer that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you answer that phone. Like, that's what you got to do. Children are our future. Children,
Fred
all that.
Flintstone's on the other end of that.
What's up, buddy? You got my gummies? And and better yet, I know I just ragged on Riot Games. I like 2 weeks ago, I ragged on them. Here's actually something cool that they're doing to help with their bullying problem, because Riot Games is synonymous with, especially the two games that they have, with just
Uh-huh.
bullies. Just bullies, dude. They now record audio chat.
Oh.
They now record what you say in audio, not just what you type. So if you report someone in game for saying slurs and stuff, a team immediately starts record. It's like they go, okay, what's in this recording? Cool, you get a ban, and
Very
you
nice.
get 2 strikes effectively. You can get 2 strikes before that account is perma banned.
Okay.
So if they find you to be a bully, you will get perma banned after 2 strikes, which
All
doesn't it
right.
isn't enough for me. I honestly think you should ban the IP. You ban the
There are ways
computer.
around that,
There are
unfortunately,
ways
but
with VPNs and other stuff, but I think there needs to be more. But just a couple of like more lighthearted things. What was the other thing? Because what is it? Game Ranks? I think it's Game Ranks does it as well, where they kind of do a whole video game update. Cool things that have happened in the gaming community. So I don't want to
right,
take what they have talked about, but I
right, right.
kind of have to. So let me pull this back up. Nice.
Ooh, let there be light.
All right. It'll go away in just a second. There was the like, what was his name? I can't remember his name right now.
What's it about?
Um, it was that subathon guy.
Oh, Ludwig?
Ludwig, yeah.
Yeah.
Ludwig is crazy, right? So
Right.
He
Yeah.
had the longest. He has the world record right now for the longest stream ever, which I can't remember what the actual. I think he was up for like what, a week and a half, 3 week, like something like
Something
that,
like that. Yeah.
something crazy, like straight up 3 week, like basically 3 weeks of straight up just. I'm gonna sit here. He recorded himself sleeping, which I would never do. You couldn't catch me dead
Yeah.
doing that, but you don't pay me. I don't get paid enough to do that yet. But
Yet.
he made like $2 million. He ended up paying like all of his mods each like $80,000 or something like that. I don't remember, but he ended up making like 2 point something million. And dude went home. He took home for himself out of his in pocket only 200,000. He either donated it to his
Mm-hmm.
mod or gave it to his mods. He paid them,
Mm-hmm.
or he donated it to, again, charity, which people don't realize how much donating to charity really does make a big difference,
Yeah.
because the only ones you don't want to donate to are like the Red Cross,
Yeah.
don't or Salvation Army as well. Two
Oh God, no!
terrible.
Salvation Army is terrible.
Like if you really want to donate to some sort of charity, one, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is always a good one, in my opinion. Correct me if I'm wrong, if they've done some shady things. um, or up here in Seattle, what is it called? It's the Cancer Research Center that we have up here
Ah, okay.
in Washington. Um, that is always something I will always recommend if someone wants to donate to. I also try to recommend going through. If anyone who doesn't know about him, Akon, his charities that he has for helping the youth over in Africa, great, because he has spent a lot of his money giving them power, fresh water, or clean water, not fresh water, clean water. All water is fresh if you think about it. Clean water and proper resources, like great things to do. Um,
I highly recommend World Central Kitchen, which
ooh,
is a charity headed up by Jose Andres. They go into disaster zones and give hot, fresh meals to pretty much anyone that needs them, be they disaster personnel or the people affected by the disaster. World Central Kitchen.
Phoenix Housing as well. Phoenix Housing. I know a lot of people have some weird pre misconceptions about it, but it's one of the really good Catholic Church run or supported housing or homeless housing shelters. They're amazing, and they set up shelters randomly throughout the U.S. And they'll give them food, water, and all that fun stuff for about a week, 2 weeks at a time. Yeah, I was a Boy Scout, and I had to volunteer for those to stay in the Scouts. It was cool. It was really interesting because you really do see, because we see a lot of people nowadays get like dehumanized for being homeless for whatever reason.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
um, which I'm gonna have to remember that because I just got into an argument with my aunt on Facebook about something related to this. Um,
Oh boy.
it's funny. No, it's funny because this is an individual that is open-minded but closed-minded. If you catch my drift there,
Oh yeah.
ignorant but is willing to at least talk about it. So you get to see like that these are people. You get to see the human side of all of them. Like, it's not all homeless people choose to be homeless. And those who do choose to be homeless need our help more than anything else, because they're sick. A lot of people who choose to be homeless are, sadly, I mean, not sadly, not most, a good majority, because like there's like my cousin who is literally a drifter, just hops on a train, goes somewhere for about 2-3 weeks at a time, works there, does whatever she needs to do to make her money, and then goes to the next city. This is what she does. But then you've got individuals like this homeless guy that I knew back in high school. I think his name was Sal. He went by Sal. He used to push around his cart. Had all his clothes. Like, it wasn't junk. He had clothes, food, shampoo, deodorant. Like, he was a clean guy, but he just pushed his cart around. And he was like legit. He was mentally ill. Like, he was sick. He was a schizophrenic, and was it psychoactive? Actually, I think it's psychoactive disorder, the one where you see hallucinations. I could be wrong.
Uh, I I'm drawing a blank right now.
I can definitely come back to that, but
Yeah, yeah.
he, like, people like him, like, those are the people who really need our help, because they legitimately cannot. They have a hard time doing the steps necessary to get into a place where they are safe and secure, and have everything that they need taken care of them. Which brings me into what I just mentioned with my aunt. So she was saying how crazy it was that McDonald's workers were making 13 an hour. It's so crazy. And I said, good. That's all I said at first. I just said, good. And I left it at that for like an hour, letting everyone comment and steep and be angry about it. And I was like, you guys do realize that your burgers that were once $5 are not going to go to $10 for a burger. That's how a company loses its niche in a market. The thing is, a lot of people don't realize that. So somewhere like McDonald's, you know how much business McDonald's lost when they took away their dollar menu? They lost so much business. People don't realize that's why they bought back the 1 for 1 or the
Mm-hmm.
2 for 2s. That's why they brought that back in, is because they're like, oh, we just lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because corporations cannot afford. You can't build a niche in a market and then, you know, lose it.
Take
Like
it
you
away.
can't take
Yeah.
yourself away. You can't take yourself out of that niche, because honestly, if I'm gonna like say we do have $10 burgers, right? So basically, you're looking at Carl's Jr., Wendy's, and a couple other like the fancier, more
Right.
expensive fast food places, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're known for having higher quality and better tasting food than McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell. I don't love Taco Bell anymore. They took away my food. Um, I'm salty, dude. They took away everything I eat.
What did they take away?
They brought back the quesadillas, which are fine, but they changed the recipe on the steak, and I don't like it. I just don't like it
Oh,
anymore. And then they
they
took
brought back the potatoes.
they brought no, they brought back the spicy potato taco.
Right.
But I could have potatoes put on something, but they never listen to me. They never
Oh.
give me my potatoes, man. And I don't
Okay.
know about you,
Okay.
but it makes me
Okay.
angry. It fills me with rage when I can't have my potatoes. Okay, I'm an Irishman. Give me my fucking potatoes.
Oh
um,
my.
so, but you lose that niche in the market. You
Right.
end up losing it completely and totally. And I know this isn't. I know it's not gaming related yet, y'all, but just bear with me, right? You lose you lose that when you take yourself out of it. So a company that's been paying, if they can get away with paying someone, $7.25 an hour, that's what they're going to pay you, until you have what happened with McDonald's, and McDonald's workers all across the United States just walked out. They walked out. They said, because franchising actually puts yourself in a very scary position, because the company is not really all that liable for those wages. Technically,
Right.
it is the owner of those franchises.
Yup.
So you put these owners into a very bad position. That's why I probably will never buy a franchise, because I don't have the greedy mindset to run a franchise. I just don't. At least not for fast food. Someplace like Subway, McDonald's, Burger King, and stuff of the like. Dairy Queen is actually franchised apparently, and I didn't know that,
Hmm.
which was weird. But that's a tangent. That's a tangent. But so you pay your workers more. Your burger, if we pay the workers more, the burgers aren't going to go up a whole lot. They might add $1 to a burger. And honestly, if it means that those high schoolers who could bear, like, because I remember working. Okay, all right. So this stays between like all of us here, okay, and the internet. Back in high school, I tried to work a job for $10 an hour so I could get a car, insurance, and all that stuff. You guys realize how much I would have not been able to buy a car until, like, if I had stayed working this job, I would not have been able to buy a car until I think my sophomore year of college, on
Wow.
those wages. Well, you got to realize, because I have to buy the car, I have to take care of the maintenance, I have to pay for the insurance, and I'm a guy, right? I'm a guy in Washington State. They don't want me driving around. They really don't. So my insurance was going to be like $300 an hour, or an hour, $300 a month,
A month.
a
Yeah.
month, $300 an hour of driving. Yeah, let's not do that. Um,
Yeah.
so it's crazy. It's crazy, and I love and appreciate that all these workers right now in the United States are giving so much pushback onto these companies. They're like, you're gonna pay us more, or we're not gonna work for you anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who here watches the stock markets. I do. because I have portfolios, I invest, and it's been a fun time for me. Let me tell you, watching everything dip. So I've been putting money in because I know they're going to go back up because they're going to cave. They're going to give these workers money, and they're going to make a lot more money because when you have workers who have more money, they're going to go and spend more money. Here's the thing. Here's general economics. When the people have more money to spend, they're going to spend more of it.
Yep.
They're going to buy houses. They're going to buy cars. They're going to buy more creature comforts, not just the bare necessities.
Right. They're going to buy survival stuff because,
That's all they can
they
afford.
have money. Yeah.
But when they can afford more, they're going to get a whole lot more. That brings me into the next part of my topic, though. Gaming industry and like a lot of the pushback that we've gotten for like microtransactions and whatnot. Apparently, Disney, by the way, put microtransactions on their roller coasters, on their rides.
Huh.
And if that is not like stereotypical Disney, I don't know what is.
You're not wrong.
It's just a funny little fun fact. I just remembered it. So I have a hot take when it comes to microtransactions in games. There is a right way to go about it, and there's a bad way to go about it. So the free to play platform works because of microtransactions. You get little like cosmetics or little tiny little buffs like XP buffs here or there, right? You pay $5 for a low tier skin, or if you really want to dump the money, and I know some people like me who have spent a lot of money on Apex so I can get an heirloom, you know, that's $500 maximum for one heirloom. I mean, if you really want to spend the money, you can, but it's all cosmetic or small buffs to games. So like Clash of Clans was one of the best mobile games to use this platform. They've made millions of dollars off of nothing but $5 transactions. That's insane. I think that's crazy. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I think it's absolutely crazy that's what people are doing. Um and that platform works. It can work. But then you do what EA did. Huh. Do I need to explain what EA did? I think I will. EA has FIFA. FIFA has the best. You can't just unlock the best characters through grinding for FIFA. You have to open up packs. And those packs are not cheap. They're $5, I think. I think it's 5 for 5, 5 packs, $5 or something like that. It's the standard protocol is $1 equals a pack. But I don't think FIFA followed that. I think FIFA packs were more expensive. Um, which you'd think because they would look at their developer studio of Respawn and how they did it with nothing but whatever, that doesn't matter. Or with Star Wars Battlefront 2, which I was so excited for. I mean, I have it, I'll probably play it, but come on. Like, I don't want to have to spend like over 80 hours grinding out Darth Vader. No.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, they tried to get out of the shit that they were under because they're like, oh, but you can grind it out. That takes way too long. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna play 80 hours of challenges just for one character. That's
Yeah.
stupid. I
Yeah.
remember grinding out 120 hours for the Hayabusa armor in Halo 3, but that's because that was worth it. That was cool and it was free, and it wasn't like stupid little nuances here or there.
Mm-hmm.
But you take a look at the way that these platforms are run, and me personally, I really question like where these companies in their right mind think they can go, and that's why it was so hard to find good things that these companies have done outside of their obligatory charity donations. Like, because you take a look at these companies, and it's actually really hard to see what have they done out of just pure kindness, or something that you know and actually, yeah, no, like, the whole like, oh, buy this game and we'll donate this much to charity. That's not really for the charity. That's for them.
No, that's for the tax break
That's for
because
the
if you
tax
if
break.
you cared, you'd donate no matter what.
Yeah. Me personally, I mean, I can't afford much. I don't make a whole lot of money. In Washington State, I have to, if I wanted to afford an apartment on my own, I'd have to make a minimum of $25 an hour for a cheap apartment to have a comfortable living. Like it's crazy. It's very you done phone? Jesus, that was loud. Um it just started vibrating like crazy. And I donate like $1 or two here or there where I can to the children's hospital
Yeah,
out here, but like I can't do much
yeah,
more than that. Um and it was really hard to like find good things that these companies themselves have done. And I would love to be able to give more credit to the company. I really would. I want to believe in the best of these entities. Like I really want to believe that these people, these top brass, are the ones who really they are individuals who care, and it's just hard to not see an ulterior motive. Which there's some philosophy involved there that's really nuanced. I don't want to get into philosophy because everything technically has an ulterior motive, whether we realize it or not.
yeah.
We're desire driven creatures. Like we can't really avoid that. Read Lord of the Flies and you'll understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Great argument though. Um, Great argument that gets brought up in Lord of the Flies of is man inherently good or evil, but I feel like that's a time for a different podcast,
Yeah,
not
that's
ours.
yeah, not ours,
Um,
not today.
and it's just a lot of just it's a lot of just hard to see the good, especially with what's happened over the past year and a half.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of corporate greed come to the forefront, and it made me sad.
Yeah. I mean, we in the last year and a half we've gone through the pandemic, and I think one of the best things to come out of that is kind of changing gears here. The fact that accessibility is significantly up, right? The fact
Yeah.
that you can actually work from home, that people are allowed to go to school, go to class, go to work, do their work from home. Um, and as someone that is disabled, um, it just kind of stings a little bit because for the disability community, they told us, beforehand that no, that won't be possible before the pandemic, and now not only is it possible, it's the norm, and now they're kind of saying, yeah, now that the pandemic's kind of winding down, which it kind of is, but not really.
Yeah.
Everyone has to go back to the office. They're yanking it back away.
Here's the thing. We need to actually fight that. Like for those who can't, who it is an actual effort to go to an office, they actually need to put a lot of pushback on that. Like
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. My friend works from home as a game developer. A job that typically like originally wasn't in the office. We keep everything secure here. And he told them he's like, I'm gonna work from home. And they said, no, you're not. And he goes, then you're not hiring me. And they're like, oh wait, hold up. We want you though. And he's like, then I get to work from home, right? And they caved because they really wanted my friend. He's
yeah,
got 4 degrees in game development, 4 separate specialized computer sciences.
yeah.
He was highly sought after, and he makes. He told me my salary, and I kind of want to rob him now. like he has that bargaining power though. Like we are the resource. We have the bargaining power. If I could have the choice to do the job I do from home, I would. I would. But that's just not possible.
Yeah,
I'm a tradesman.
yeah,
I have to go out and do this work. It's why I get paid so much to do it, or I will be being
it's
paid.
true. Yeah,
I get that pay after 2.5 years. Um, and it's you guys have the bargaining power. Use it.
yeah. But I mean, disabled people generally don't have that bargaining power, unfortunately, because we're not taken seriously, and that's just a flaw in the system.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it is.
but yeah, but yeah, if you want to change gears a bit,
Oh, for sure. Go ahead.
Um, so if we want to go into my topic, which is Final Fantasy 14, the last weekend was Final Fantasy 14 Fan Festival 2021, which was pretty much the final reveal of the rest of the information for the new uh, expansion pack Endwalker, which is coming out November 23rd, which is a lot later than most people expected. Um, but November 23rd, 2021. Um, and it's basically going to be two new jobs: Sage, which is a healing class, which uses these little kind of laser knife things that both uh, damage and heal and cause barriers. I don't know too much
Weird.
about them. Yeah, they're the Sage controls four of them, and they're anti gravity, and yeah, they're pretty cool. Not gonna lie, but Alpha Node kind of becomes a Sage in the time between Shadowbringers and Endwalker, so he learns a new trick. Um, and then Reaper is the new melee DPS class. It shares armor with Dragoon, and basically it uses a big ass scythe, and you get a Void Scent pet that basically is like a friggin' ghost that goes around and empowers you and does damage to enemies. And it looks smooth as hell. Um, so those are the two new jobs. They did it. They are adding male Vieira. They're adding the male Bunny Boys. Um, which there's a Final Fantasy 14 streamer named Zepla who she was watching live and streaming, and she about plotzed when they announced the male Vieira. she she her reaction was just priceless.
Oh, I have a meme to send you now. I have to send you
Okay,
something later.
okay. Um, but yeah, Zepla, Zepla, if you want to look her up. She but male Vieira are coming. Female Hrothgar are in the pipeline, but will not be ready for 6.0, which is Endwalker. Um, but those are coming. There will be the end of the 10-year storyline with Heidelin and Zodiark at the end of 6.0. So at the end of the base expansion from level 80 to 90, um, that will be the end of the storyline. And 6.1 will be the start of the new storyline. Um, so that it's been a journey, man. It's been a damn journey.
Yeah, that's what like I've been seeing a lot of like it didn't during the festival they also did a memorial.
Um,
A memorial to an actor, I believe, who died, a voice actor who died.
um, I think so. Yeah, there was a voice actor who did the voice of one of the uh, I forget the name of the character, but he was one of Harchafont's brothers' uh, servants, I believe, and he passed away, unfortunately. So yeah, they did a memorial to him.
That to say, but I think that's really awesome. That they would like just the gaming community. Like when we lose someone, like everyone feels it, and there's
Yeah, totally.
usually some insane like display of homage to them.
That actually, one sec. Um, there was actually something that I wanted to bring up, unrelated to Final Fantasy 14. The Smite community, um, on Friday, Hi-Rez startled the Smite community by abruptly postponing all of its esports events for the weekend, a move made more bizarre by the fact that the company wouldn't say why. That had led to speculation about everything from a possible legal scandal to a Bitcoin snafu. But I'm sorry to report today that the real reason is much worse. A member of the Hi-Rez team passed away.
Oh no.
Hi-Rez CEO Stuart Chisholm announced to the community this morning that Hi-Rez esports staff caster John Finch passed away on Thursday. He was only 28. Chisholm says that Finch was chosen as a quote anchor member of the Hi-Rez esports casting team thanks to his epic performance during the studio's 2017 talent competition, and he consequently become a beloved member of the staff and community. The company asked players to give Finch's staff and family time and respect, noting that Smite Pro League and Smite Challenger Circuit matches for the rest of the week have also been postponed. Quote, "This is a huge loss for our esports family," he says, promising some sort of future memorial as well. Quote, "We will communicate news at a later time as to when and how we will reboot the SPL season. Our
That's
sympathies
insane.
extend to the high-res staff and community." But yeah, he was and I used to do my share of sports broadcasting back in college, and i- the announcing family is super tight, and even in esports, you just you
I
know
think
you
Rain
feel for them.
I think Rain Day Gaming was actually talking about that a little bit because he hasn't been posting.
Yeah,
He didn't post on Thursday, but he did say something about High Res losing an employee. That's
yeah,
insane. That's insane. I'm
yeah,
not I'm not a big fan of High Res games personally. They're just kind of not my jam. Um, but to lose a caster, now that
yeah,
everyone that just I know everyone adored him. Just
yeah,
raw talent, like just knowing how to
yeah,
bring that hype, bring that excitement. You just bring it to the field, and they lost it.
yeah, yeah,
That's actually really tragic.
yeah, totally. John
Um,
Yunlink Finch.
that's almost like I mean that's almost as big. Yeah, in not in compare like to compare how big it would be for the high res esports community. That's almost as big as when Kobe died.
Yeah,
In reality, like you got to think about it. Like Finch was he was there. He's been there for a while. You know, he's
yeah,
2017. Since 2017, like his voice is synonymous with Smite Esports.
yeah, yeah.
That's Faker. What was that of Smite? That's how synonymous that is for them. You know,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
he's been there for 5 years, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
4 or 5 years, and wow, yeah,
Rest in peace. Like
yeah.
seriously,
Rest in peace.
like this whole last year has taken a lot of people.
Yeah, it really has.
It has definitely just taken a lot from us, and it's just sad because a lot of just and that's just life. Like if you don't mind, I kind of want to touch on this while we're here just briefly.
Sure,
Um,
I know what you're talking about.
this is definitely not the best. This was definitely not the best year. You know, this last
Right.
year and a half was horrible. We saw riots shake the world. The world was rioting for one reason or another. We have what's currently going on in the Middle East. We had our movements here in the United States. What's been going on in China? What's going on in Russia? You know, it's been a crazy year, and I'm not the type of person to say count your blessings because that's a way to basically be like be happy where you are. But you guys should really
Toxic positivity.
toxic positivity. But what I will say is, I hope you continue to take care of yourselves, guys, because at any moment, it's life can take you by surprise in good and bad ways. So just take care of yourself. You should be your number one priority because that's all there is to life, in my opinion, is taking care of
Yeah.
yourself and the ones you love.
Yep. And
which I hope my thoughts and prayers go out to his family.
yeah,
Cause who knows what his actual story is,
yeah,
not just what is portrayed to us.
yeah. And that kind of segs me over to back to Final Fantasy 14, because as the goodbyes were happening at the fan festival, Masayoshi Soken, who is the uh, uh, main composer for the songs on all of Shadowbringers and pretty much all of the Final Fantasy 14 game. He is a friggin' genius. He is a master composer. He had just played a concert with his band, the Primals, his rock band. They were showing off the Final Fantasy 14 Fender collaboration guitars that just they look amazing. They have like resin purple on the uh, like horn area and blue on the butt area. That if you shine a light through them, you can see the light through them. And they have a limit break button that it changes the tone of the guitar to from like rhythm guitar from most strats to more of a soloing tone. It changes the pickups from solos to humbucker type tone. It's pretty cool. And I say that as someone who's played guitar for 30 years. So
Yeah. So
um,
that's you sent me that performance, and an amazing performance. Um, and I just have to say that talent, talent. A lot of people we discredit a lot of, I don't want to say OGs, but like older individuals in the music community, gaming community, and all that stuff. We always want a fresh new face. We want something what's new, what's bright. But this band put on a show, like like Green Day. Like, I don't like Green Day as a band personally, but as performers, holy hell, they can perform.
yeah.
My mom's ex husband went to one, and they literally put blocks of cheese under their seats so they could throw at them. Like, it's crazy, it's insane. And
Wow.
the performance, what was the name of the band again?
The Primals.
The Primals put on a show. They really put on a
Yeah.
show.
But yeah, after the Primals played, and everyone was saying their goodbyes because the Primals was the final part of the show of the Fan Fest weekend. Um, they brought Soken back up on stage, and now this may be a bit hard for me, but Soken admitted to basically everyone um, that he, right when the uh, pandemic had started last year, um, had basically been diagnosed with cancer. And he went into the hospital and was receiving treatment. And he spoke to Yoshi P, Naoki Yoshida, the main director of the game, and told him that he didn't want the um, dev team to know that he was in the hospital or that he had cancer. So he was just working alone in the hospital, doing all the work that he normally would have done while undergoing treatment, chemo, whatnot. Um, and while he was admitting this, Naoki Yoshida was facing away from the audience. Um, well, what little audience there was, because obviously there, this was in an empty auditorium because COVID. Away from the cameras, just weeping. And Natsuko Ishikawa, who was the head writer for Shadowbringers, the latest expansion pack, was just incredulous and saying, uh, and they had Koji Fox, who is the lead singer of the Primals and also the head of the localization team. He was translating everything that everyone was saying on stage. Um, Natsuko Ishikawa was saying, but I kept giving you all these nitpicky notes on the song you were working on, and you were undergoing chemotherapy. I can't believe that you didn't tell us. And Soken was saying basically that because I didn't tell you, and because I I was just going through doing my work as normal, and I was being treated as normal, it kept me um feeling like I was normal, and that gave me the strength to keep going. And he wrote a song called To the Edge that is the theme of the boss fight in the 5.3 patch, uh the denouement, basically, of the Shadowbringers expansion. Um, and it hits different now, believe me.
You know, and it's interesting because this may be my Western ignorance speaking
Hmm.
on another culture, but we see that kind of pride exemplified everywhere. Like me personally, um, if I ever get diagnosed, I don't care. I personally don't care enough. I don't have that much pride in to not be pitied effectively. But I definitely
Yeah.
can understand why, because especially as for those who don't know, Japan has one of the most insane work environments in the world. Like people literally drop dead walking home. They will just drop dead from exhaustion. It was basically a pandemic in the '90s before some social reform came in. Um, but to see the basically what I'm trying to say is hearing this story, do not be inspired by it.
Yes.
He was killing himself, which is why he was crying, is because he knew in himself that if he stopped, he would die. That was the impact it had on me when I heard this story. Was I felt sorry for him because he had one thing to keep him going. And to me that was sad. That is heartbreaking. Now, am I impressed by what the fruits of that labor were? Hell yes. It is. It's an epic effectively. The song is an epic to me just because I didn't hear the song first. I heard the story first. Then I heard the song, and it does. It hits on a whole other level. It's insane. It's crazy. But you have to understand that this was a tragic epic. This story was coming from tragedy, that this man literally didn't, like, he felt like if he was given pity that he could not keep going. And that is the curse of pride, my friends. That is a curse. Like, there are benefits to it. There is a benefit to it. That because he was being treated like a normal person, he kept going, and we see this exemplified all throughout the gaming community, or not community, but gaming developers. Because a whole lot of our best games come out of Japan. Let's be honest here, out of Korea and Japan, they are some of the best games that we get, most impactful, that are culturally significant. In fact, um, and it's insane. Some of the best developers from around the world aren't even from like the UK or Germany or the most developed or wealthiest countries. They're from these individuals who have passion, who feel legitimate passion for their work. But it is a double-edged sword. It's very much so a double-edged sword. The stock market, those the stockbrokers from the '70s. We hear stories about that all the time, like the Wolf of Wall Street, which again, I love the movie. It was funny. It was great. It was high energy, and it was, of course, some other things that, of course, I probably would like out of it. Um, love Margot Robbie, man. She's an amazing actress. Just by the way, can we just attest to the acting that we've gotten over the past 5 years? Even the movie, even if a movie is garbage, the actors that we have right now are amazing. They do such a good job.
Yep.
It's same with gaming. Like we've seen so many passion projects come out lately due to this double-edged sword concept that we're touching on. We got God of War, the remake, or
Hmm.
not the remake, but number four. We got God of War
Right. Right.
4, which is just, it was a passion project. We had a bunch of people who loved the game come through and make it, that loved the series and made a game. And that's why Final Fantasy 14 is as critically acclaimed as it is because these are individuals who legitimately love the series. They're not just in this for the paycheck. They're in it because this is their baby.
Yep.
This is
Yep.
what they work so hard for.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
Yoshi P was weeping because he Soken was
oh, you froze.
all right. Let's try that. Am I back?
You're back. You're back.
Okay. Yeah, but Yoshi P was weeping because he was so glad that his friend is back because the cancer is in remission now, almost fully in remission. And he got the go ahead to play that concert with his band at FanFest. Um, and Yoshi P said, "I am so happy that my friend is back." And Yoshi P was so happy because Soken was one of the first and only people when Yoshi P was brought on to fix Final Fantasy 14
Okay.
to just be super enthusiastic and say, "Yeah, we're going to do this," because no one else thought he could do it. But Soken was on board from day one.
We saw a lot of we saw a huge revival of the Final Fantasy series at this point in time too,
Yeah.
because let's be honest, 13 and 14 and even 12 were not good games. They were not nearly as good. They
Yeah.
didn't hit that mark like they should have. A lot of individuals who were working on these projects were lazy. They didn't care for the series, it felt like, honestly. And again, that's a big thing that we see in game development in like the US versus game development in the eastern part of the world. Is the two complete, I mean, they are titans. We get big titan-esque games from both sides, but you see more passion projects come out of Japan, Korea, China. China, I don't want to get demonetized, but we all know how I feel about that.
um,
um
I don't think that they're lazy. The 12, 13, and 15. I just think that they had different visions. You know.
it just felt like no one really was putting in the effort to put that vision out there, though. That's how I feel when I played through those games. They didn't have the same impact that 7 did, or 8 or 9 or 10, or even 3. Personally, 3 for me was really impactful. When it came to a Final Fantasy game, they didn't have that. It And I know, the whole like you can't really tell, but for me personally, I could tell when a game has love put into it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's part of the reason why I just can't really. Anyways, it just won't
there's
stop.
there's actually a new Final Fantasy game by Hiraguchi or Hironobu Sakaguchi and Nobuo Uematsu called Fantasian, I believe, and it's
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I've seen all the
yeah,
demos. I've seen the demos for it. Oh,
yeah,
it looks so
it's
good.
apparently it's only for the Apple gaming station or something like that, but
Don't remind
yeah,
me.
it looks interesting, you know.
Um, honestly, hold up, hold up, hold up.
Okay.
I think it's there. So there's a couple of really big releases for this year. Um, so where is it? Where is it? No More Heroes 3 is coming out. What?
Wow.
And No More Heroes 3. So we just got Knockout City.
Mm-hmm.
We're we get next month we get Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Right.
We get Intergrade for Final Fantasy 7.
Right.
Um, a golfing Mario game because who would have thought? Skyward Sword HD.
Oh wow.
Here we go. Neo, The World Ends with You. It is we are getting a cult classic brought back, which was
Nice.
it was on the Nintendo DS. 14 years after its initial release, the game is getting a sequel, and that is a direct quote from CNET. We get no. I can't get over the fact we're getting No More Heroes 3. Just a goofy game. Um, there's one more. Oh, Far Cry 6.
Really?
We were getting Far Cry 6. Yeah, what was his name? The actor who played you watched The Mandalorian?
No.
Did you watch Breaking Bad?
No. I'm
Okay.
bad at this.
Hold up. Let me look up. I can't Giancarlo
Esposito.
Esposito. This
Yeah.
guy, he is actually the main villain.
Oh, neat.
He's I honestly I didn't like the recent Far Cry game, but this one is looking pretty good just because of the
Mm-hmm.
cast they've
Mm-hmm.
got. Um, come on. I forgot about this one, guys. I forgot about this one.
Oh.
Horizon Forbidden West.
Oh, the sequel to Zero Dawn.
Oh, so ready. We also get God of War Ragnarok, which, by the way, guys, if you love me, please get me a PS5. Please, for the love of God, get me a PS5 because I need these games in my life. I swear I'll make content. We already got our Resi 8. So those are the big releases. I think I'm actually looking in the wrong year, but there's a game that's coming out. I think it's next year then because I'm trying to find this. Come on, where are you at? Ooh, wow. Heh. Apparently we're getting Ever Crisis next year as well.
Really?
Yeah, we're getting Final Fantasy 7 Ever Crisis. Man, where I guess I can't find it. Basically, it's another Souls-like that's coming out that it was inspired by Final Fantasy. That
Uh-huh.
it's an amalgamation of both. And like kind of like the big epics, like the big epic monsters that aren't like, horrifying grotesque freaks of nature. Or demons. I shouldn't have thrown that because, it got on my nerves again. But
Uh-huh.
we've got a lot of really cool stuff coming out. But
Yeah.
I definitely don't think it's a matter of maybe not necessarily being lazy, but not invested, not personally invested. There seems to be a lot of concepts in gaming nowadays of like big AAA titles of it just coming out because it's good enough. I remember when I played games 5 years ago, and I wasn't playing, up to date modern games. I was just playing whatever the hell looked good to me. I was playing Resident Evil 4 for like the 30th time, because there's games like that you could just really tell that they really wanted, like, they really loved this. They really wanted the vision that they
Yeah.
had for this game
Yeah.
to be out there. Like, and I don't feel that nowadays. I didn't feel that with some of the more recent Final Fantasy games, but you feel it with 14 online.
Yeah.
You definitely feel it with
Yeah.
14 online. And when you get an emotional display like that, that was more than just, not having my friend. That was more like the fear that they both shared for the future.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones who brought it back from the dead. From the dead.
Yeah, yeah,
They knew this game was dying. They knew it was dead. It was dead on arrival.
it really
And they're
was.
like, we need to give it first aid, but more than that, surgery. Like it needed to be fixed. Truly, there was a deeper problem, and then you get these individuals who love the series, who feel a passion for it, and then they bring it back, and then it just takes off. Sad to say,
Yeah.
as much as I shit on Blizzard, that's what they did with World of Warcraft. Every single time it started losing interest, they're like, nah, bring the A team in. We're going to make sure people love this because we're the ones who love this are the ones who are going to be working on it. You
Yeah.
know, that's, and again, as much, I want to see more of that. I want to see more of that in the games that I like.
Um, Speaking of Fantasian, the new Final Fantasy esque game by Hironobu Sakaguchi and uh, Nobuo Uematsu. Um, there's a new interview out by Alex Mukala, who I actually sent you a video a little earlier today of him doing a Rickroll, a
Yeah,
funkified Rickroll.
that was
But
good. That was good.
Alex Mukala is also known as the Warrior of Funk because he does funk remixes of video game music, and um, he is a music composer and uh, just writer of music and a huge aficionado of video game music in general. And he actually got to interview Masayoshi Soken a while back with Husky by the Geek, who is another music YouTuber that does 14 stuff and video game music stuff and plays guitar and bass and drums and whatnot. Um, and Alex Mukala just did a interview with Hironobu Sakaguchi and uh, Nobuo Uematsu, who are the creator of Final Fantasy and the original composer of Final Fantasy stuff, respectively. And they talk about the new game and stuff like that. So Alex Mukala, Moukala, if anyone is interested, and I will make sure that the link to that is in the extended of this in YouTube. But yeah, it's a very good interview, and I highly recommend it for people who are interested in Fantasian, which is the new game coming out for the Final Fantasy series. Not the Final Fantasy series; it's a Final Fantasy esque game
It's good.
from.
It looks really good.
Yeah, it really
I
does.
really
From the
wish they would.
creator of Final Fantasy.
They need to give us. I actually want to take a short break here though, real quick. We're already about an
Sounds
hour
good.
in. I want to take about five. I'm going to head to be right back, but I'm still gonna leave mic on. So
Okay.
feel free to chat or whatever. But you're in charge for the next 5 minutes.
Okay. don't forget to get your nachos today. Just waiting on Preston to get back.
Alrighty.
Alrighty.
Whew. switch over to our other podcast, Kareem. Okay, so check it. Let me pull it back up real quick. But I did find
All right.
who that homage was to. It was for the writer of Berserk,
So there have been a lot of
Kentaro Miura. Miura. He had sadly passed away recently. I think it was actually last week. And there's been just so many homages to. And apparently, there's the scene from Castlevania, season 4 of Castlevania, that was just straight up Berserk. That was like it looked like guts, and his Berserk armor just going to town. And apparently, it's confirmed that yeah, it wasn't it. The writer of Castlevania was like, yeah, I loved Berserk, which I actually can't recommend to anybody. It is dark. Like, it is probably one of the darkest anime I've ever seen. Oh my god. My mic was off. No, it wasn't. Mic 4 is off. Okay, good.
Whoops. Yeah, but no, I've got the volume on the podcast, and I heard you. So you're
Okay,
fine.
good. Like, it was crazy. It's just crazy to think, right? Like, we are losing so many just iconic individuals, which for our generation they are iconic, you know, which there's a group of individuals for the generation younger than me that is going to be iconic, and then they're going to eventually pass away when, you know, in the next 20, 30 years. Because that's, again, that's life. It's just crazy because
life.
it does feel like specifically it's happening a lot lately. But you also have to remember there was the baby boom, and then how they all had kids
Yep.
because they were just pumping out babies left and right because condoms didn't exist back then, apparently. Wrap it before you tap it, y'all.
Yep.
But it's just one of those, like, for me personally, it was just one of those things that I don't hold that same degree of sympathy, or like death doesn't bother me as much. When someone's like, well, this person passed away, I'm like, that sucks, because it does. Like, but I personally don't feel a whole lot of that emotional impact personally. I swear I'm not a sociopath, guys. I'm just what they call traumatized. Um, but more importantly, I was very familiarized with it very young through through video games, through media, through my personal life experiences. I actually don't know a lot of my family because they passed away before I was old enough to remember them. So, like, actually, you know, that's a great thing to touch on. Can we talk about modern media and how violent it is, or how violent it's portrayed to be? Um, I personally think it's not a problem with video games or TV shows or stuff being violent. I think it's up to parents to parent their kids. Um,
Novel concept.
like my dad knew I wasn't gonna go out shooting people, so he let me play Call of Duty. I still haven't shot anyone to this day, so. But ultimately, like, I do agree that to a degree there are some things in popular media that are just really graphic, too graphic in my opinion to be in popular media, you know, in the very common media. Because I mean, my little brother, like, he's like 10 years old, 10 or 11 years old, and he's like, "Hey, I did you really like the new Doom game?" And I'm like, "Why the fuck did you play it? Like, who the fuck is letting you
Yep.
play that?"
Yep.
Like, it is violent. Like, and I played Duke. To be fair, it's a little hypocritical. I played Duke Nukem 64 when I was 13. That was
Yeah.
my first, like, those 2D boobies were the first I ever saw. But
Mm-hmm.
like, it is different day and age though. Like, the generation under me, like, there's been so many changes to society in between when I was born and my youngest brother was born. Huge drastic
Oh yeah.
changes. Like, I believe that we need to be doing better separation of what's reality and what's not as well. Community, Abed, was a wonderful and example of what can happen if we don't separate, you know, media from reality. Now, Abed is a special case because he's autistic, but he almost reminded me of my little brother a little bit. Just kind of like how my brother seems to live in his head about when it comes to TV shows being such a big influence on how he thought the world was going to operate. And I even thought that a little bit because I'm like, oh, I saw this in TV. Like, what? Oh my God. Like the romanticizing of everything. How I Met Your Mother was terrible because it romanticized Barney. Are my headphones really dying right now? Okay.
Oh
Okay.
no.
Cool. I'm having a day today, guys. Like, nothing wants to work for me. Hold up. Let me see if I can find a port.
But yeah, to expound on that while Preston's trying to find a port, Barney was not a role model in How I Met Your Mother. Barney was a womanizing. He took womanizing as a sport. Yeah, I can hear you. The stream can't. No, the stream can't hear you.
Properties.
Okay, now the stream can hear you.
Okay. Okay, there we go. I'm still going to put it as the microphone. Okay, cool. Sorry. I guess I didn't take care of everything that I should have. I apologize, everybody. A lot of technical difficulties today, apparently. I didn't get a new battery. Fuck. It's crazy to think that a lot of popular media, like, because what's her name? Oof, what's her name? The Cash Me Outside girl.
Right.
Okay, so I like to use her as a perfect example of what we see in popular media because she probably grew up with a lot of stereotyping of individuals in media, which you could see through the lack of parenting, how they stuck to her, how her environment influenced her. But media actually has an impact on us. People don't realize that. Like, we got emotional about talking about a dude almost dying that we've never met because of the impact that their work has had on us. Now
Right.
take that same concept, right? Take that same concept and put it towards like TMZ, World Star, and those other popular media outlets, and exemplify the stereotypical behavior of individuals across the board. That is bad. Like, that is not okay. And when we don't have parents who are willing to fucking parent their kids, like, I don't condone beating your children. I don't.
Right.
But rest assured, if I have a 16-year-old and he swings on me, I'm going to hit him back. Because somewhere along the line, I fucked up and made it think that it is okay for my son to hit me, to, like, punch me. That's my fault as a parent, and I now have to correct that with more extreme measures because that Dr. Phil shit doesn't work. It doesn't. Dr. Phil is a hack.
Mm-hmm.
As I've seen so many people debunk what he has to say. He's
Oh yeah.
he's a abuse apologist. He's a rape apologist. Like, he's
Mm-hmm.
bad. Dr. Phil is bad, and he's just a personality. Same with Dr. Oz, I think his name is.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, Dr. Oz is terrible. Like, ableist as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
um, but you see the influence from these big people, right? It is a parent's job to look at Dr. Phil, see that, like, that doesn't sound right. Like a teenager correctional facility. You know what that sounds like to me? This is a facility where they're gonna either dope them up or they're gonna beat the shit out of them,
Yeah.
and that's not okay. But we see this happen so much in media that not even adults, most adults can't even seem to separate themselves from that media. My fucking okay, my uncle, right? He says, "Well, I see all these people on the news and they're doing this and doing that, so that's what all people are doing.
No.
No. No, 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 no. Did my grandpa not tell you that that is not the truth? Or did he buy into it too? You know, when I played Mass Effect for the first time, and I saw him sleeping around, and I saw Shepard sleeping around with aliens, I did not think it would be okay to do what Shepard does to these people. He's kind of a predator. You know, there are some things that, you know, we as people should know that it's not generally okay to do in modern society. It is that fantasizing of it, which, you know, I do believe we need to keep, you know, concepts from reality and concepts in games kind of different, like slightly separated, but we can draw comparisons.
Right.
A really, and to parallel though is the altruistic nature of our heroes affecting our children. I think that's a bad thing. I tell my little brothers and sisters all the time, don't give a shit about anyone else but yourself. Because what we see the hero do in TV shows and all that stuff will get you killed. Realistically, not everyone is like Liam Neeson in Taken. Not everybody is Soap
Not
McTavish
everyone has
from
a
Call of Duty.
particular set of skills.
Not as about to say, like, we see, you know, the whole common man going through hell to save his family. Ethan Winters.
Mm-hmm.
We would die, motherfucker. Like, we would die. Yeah. Well, and I can't say it for those who haven't played. Actually, you know what? No, I don't care. Most everyone in this community has seen it. Ethan Winters died in Resident Evil 1, even. Or Resident Evil 7. Like, he's dead, apparently. That was like a big reveal in 8.
We're not as fun of a guy as he is.
But, like, you know, we're not superheroes. It's great. It's great to look at someone like Superman and think, man, I want to be that. I want to hold those ideals, and that's great and fantastic, but it doesn't work out that way. And we need to be doing a better job, like, as a society, from teaching people how to separate reality from fiction. Because we're not all of us are the main character. There's an actual there's an actual syndrome called main character syndrome, or main character. Basically, they see themselves as the protagonist of the world, of the story, whatever fucking story that is. Like, that whole we're the heroes of our own stories is bullshit. I hate that people go around telling kids that. It's like, that is, again, toxic positivity. And actually, that's what it is. That's what we see a lot of in media, is that positive, toxic positivity, which it's great. Again, in concept, it's great. Fantastic. I love the fact that Batman and Superman always win. But we're not them.
Nope.
We just like to feel like them. Me personally, I take a lot of my philosophies, it turns out, from Superman and Spider-Man. You know, help, if I have strength, I help others. You know, that kind of stuff is like, we help those who can't help themselves. But, like, me personally, I did boxing. I know martial arts. I've scrapped my whole life. I was beat, so I had to learn how to defend myself. Not everyone is about that. I mean, even then, I don't even like confrontation. I tend to walk away from it or run from it. I'm like, no, because I don't want to get hurt. I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want anyone else around us to get hurt. So why would I put myself in that position to where anyone else is going to get hurt? We're not Superman. We're not Batman. This isn't going to be an ass whooping. We're going to hurt each other. Actually, you know what? You know those MMA movies that have been coming out lately over the past, 8 years? Do a great job of exemplifying that. That you may be skilled, you're still going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Because there are other people who know what they're doing too. Yep. And, like, you know, there ain't going to be, you know, black waters coming after you, buddy. Like, you're a nobody. And that's harsh to say sometimes, but that's just the truth of the matter. Most of us are fucking nobodies.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing. It's just, we're not government agents. We're not all of it. We're not, you know, we're not special experiments. We're not aliens from a blown up planet, you know? Yeah. It's cool to be in... What?
reminds me of this one XKCD comic that it's this computer programmer guy that is being held hostage, and he says, "You'll never get the cipher out of me to unlock the uh, you know uh, the lock on the computer here," and then it zooms out and shows that that's just in his brain, and the two kidnappers say, "Hit him with this wrench until he gives it up."
No, that's kind of valid though. Because when we see like the hero being victorious, victory, that is not realistic. People don't realize
No.
how much in reality the bad guy wins.
Oh yeah.
The bad guy wins a lot, and in reality, they're not necessarily the bad guy. Like I've been watching Invincible. I watched Invincible, and so this is kind of spoiler territory for Cecil Stedman. For events regarding Cecil Stedman. So I'll give you about 5 seconds to kind of mute, and then one of us will type in chat when you can unmute for those who are unfamiliar with the comics or the storyline. But 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Cecil Stedman is seen as a bad guy in a lot. Like we think, he's kind of fucked up. He lets villains come and do work for the government and stuff like that. We realize the world is kind of gray in reality. That sometimes that these individuals with extraordinary skill sets could actually provide useful to our government, to our world. And ultimately, we see a lot of that in reality. In the end, there are terrible means to good ends. Like, that statement of the road to hell is paved with good intentions. That's
Right.
just another way to phrase it. But that's the reality of the world we live in. Like, we're not living in a comic book. We're not living in a video game, and we have to remind ourselves of that sometimes. Like, there was a dude that wanted to pick a fight with me recently, and he was like, I know better. I don't feed into this. Like, just let him talk his shit and walk away. But I looked him up and down, and I knew I could take him. I knew I could beat his ass. Like, I knew that, at least in my head. The reality of the matter is, a lot of us have those thought processes, but have no idea what the hell we're talking about. It's just our ego, and that ego is inflated by media. We didn't really have a whole lot of that about 100 years ago, because, those Rough Rider types that we had about 100 years ago, and maybe even less, they were. Like, these dudes were killers. They were straight up Rough Riders. There was a lot of former military, special agents type stuff. Like, that stuff we see in media today, that stuff was a reality for a lot of people not too long ago. But society has changed. Nowadays, we have a lot of the common man with inflated egos because we see what other people do in media. We see these extraordinary individuals in media and think that we're capable of the same, but without the same skill set.
Yeah, back 100 years ago, you had to worry about Teddy Roosevelt. Now you have to worry about Dale Gribble.
Yeah. I mean, 100 years ago, you had to worry about people like, what was that one chick that all the Irish hate? You know who I'm talking about, though?
No.
I'm going to Google it. I'm going to literally Google it. Woman that Irish people hate. Because there's a woman that put out a lot of anti-Irish stuff. Schindler's List type shit.
I mean, I'm thinking of Maggie Thatcher, but
there we go.
Oh, is it?
Yep, I'm thinking Maggie Thatcher.
Okay, Margaret Thatcher. Okay.
Okay. Train of thought. Where are you? I have the name. You had to worry about people like her, though. You know, who really do like real life villain shit.
Yeah.
And nowadays, yeah, we still have those kinds of people, but those people are kept in check because of sky guns. You guys do like, and I want to point this out there. You guys realize that the world is in a police state by the United States right now, right? We have systems in space that can nuke a country, like destroy a country. We are able to kill each other at the press of a button. So we don't have real life supervillains like that anymore. It's all clandestine, it's all under the ropes. And those individuals are a hell of a lot scarier because there's not as many people who can actually take them on. We're not superheroes. We're not specially trained super mutants, we're not some weird experiment from MK Ultra that can control things with our minds. Like, those are cool concepts. And we can try to espouse the similar ideals from our favorite heroes, but we can't do the same shit they do. But a lot of people seem to think that we can, realistically, and we can't do that alone. That's not a on our own type thing.
Right. I mean, when I use my heat vision, I've said too much. Should I close the mute now?
Yes.
There we go.
But we do get a lot of there seems to be a huge disconnect. I'm on TikTok, right?
Right.
And a lot of people do. And so we see a lot of really cool like martial artists. I follow the he goes by Big Bang Mike on TikTok. I can't remember his name, but he was the first Red Power Ranger. He's cool. He's a real life black belt in many martial arts. He put in that effort. Like, he is the real deal. There's also us instructor Bensei, who I follow, who is a weapons like, he knows how to use different weapons. Like, he's a weapons master. Or Doug Marqueta, which I love that guy. He's awesome. Anyone who's seen Forged in Fire knows who this man is for sure. But
like I'm Twitter friends with Lexi Alexander, who is a stunt person, and she actually taught she trained the Marine Corps in how to in self-defense, like hand-to-hand combat self-defense.
Like, these people do exist. These superhero-esque individuals do exist, but you have to understand, you gotta put in that effort. You're not Leon S. Kennedy, my friends.
Yeah.
You're not Chris Redfield. You're not.
She's also a Oscar-nominated movie director, so
there's just not a lot of that same. There's a huge gap in that capability. Now, we nowadays as individuals are capable of a lot more than others in different ways, though. I mean, the fact that we're in the age of technology and all this information's up there, I could throw out any name, right? I could throw out what's someone I think might be obscure? Sam Riegel, for those who are not familiar with Sam Riegel, throw that name out there. Someone who's never heard of him before can spend 5 seconds on Google and know exactly who the hell he is.
Yep.
Which I'm a little jealous of Angie because of where he lives. Because I can't lie, I honestly might end up like this is a joke. I'm going to premise this as a joke right here, right now. But I probably would stalk Matt Mercer. Because I'm such a fan of his work. It's a joke because if I ever were to come face to face with Matt Mercer, I would probably drool and my brain would stop for a second because I'm just such a massive fan of his work.
Right.
Him and his wife are just amazing voice actors. And for those of you who don't know who Matt Mercer is, I don't like you right now. So you should go know who Matt Mercer is. He voiced Levi. He voiced McCree voiced the Gangplank after his rework from League of Legends. He just does a lot of anime work. And he is the forever DM of Critical Role, not Vox Machina, Critical Role, which campaign 2 is ending.
It is.
It is ending at level 15. That is insane to me.
Yeah.
Which at the same time though, I like it because Vox Machina ran till level 20.
Mm-hmm.
But the Mighty Nine, their goals have been met. It's time for
Yeah.
them to end.
Yeah.
That's just the kind of world of adventures that we see in D&D, is that not all these big heroes of the world or of the region, become heroes of the world. They don't. Not every legendary group are the most powerful. It just depends on their impact. Um, but yeah, like, you could throw a name out there. You could say a concept, and someone could Google it. You couldn't, like, 100 years ago, most people were stupid and uneducated, and I mean that in the nicest way possible. I mean that they were uneducated. They had fewer brain cells. They did, like, because of all the drugs and all the chemicals that people used to put in food. Like, there was just a lot less, like, mental capacity 100 years ago, just because of the lack of knowledge. Now we're in the age of technology, and all the information's it's right here. All the information I'm
Yeah.
ever gonna need is right here.
Yeah.
And I'm using
I
a
mean,
computer, which is more powerful than this.
and people are still ill-informed.
Yeah, and that's their fault though. And that's why I don't really take much quarter for ignorance, because you should be able to look it up. But not all the information out there is correct, though. I will give
Yeah,
them
there's
that
still
benefit.
static.
We need to get internet to everywhere, because we can do it. We have the resources.
Oh yeah.
That's what I do for a living. I basically set up the cable and stuff for, like, fiber optic and internet. Like, that's what I do. I know what it takes to do it. We could get it to the rest of the world. It's not that hard. It's really not. Um, but we see it. We just see a lot of, like, in popular media, a lot of these things exemplified. Like, you see like these crazy assholes who climb buildings thinking that they're Spider-Man. Now they do it, which is crazy. It's awesome because we see someone in real life doing this, but then we get the drunk asshole who thinks he could do it when he weighs 450 pounds and hasn't, done any sort of Pilates in his life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we need to be careful. Is we need to remove. Like, hey man, are you sure you want to do that, fella? Are you sure? Like, realize your limitations here.
Maybe get some training in first.
Yeah, know what to do before you do it. Like, again, I'm bringing up my job a lot just because it's a good example. Me personally, I don't know how to do a lot of the intricate stuff of my job, so I don't do it. They say you could kill someone, you could hurt someone, you could hurt yourself. Because even though I'm low volt, any amount of voltage can hurt you. I haven't been shocked yet, though, so I'm invincible.
Yeah, that's the right attitude to have.
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
But, like, ultimately, we see a lot of this crazy stuff happening. And again, it should definitely be on the educators, the ones who are giving people this information as well, though, to basically be like, slow your roll there, buddy. Understand your limitations. Having limitations isn't bad. Now, what is the good that comes out of all of this, though? What is the legitimate good that comes out of all of this? We get to see popular entities in popular media influence generations. Superman and Captain America are some of the biggest influences we've ever seen on like a generation of young people.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, like, and we should definitely give more credit to their creators than we already do. Like, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby did an amazing job with Marvel. And people are like, "Oh, but Stan Lee wasn't perfect." No, none of us are. Doesn't mean we
Yeah.
can't appreciate his work and what the message is. We see Captain America, which I love what they have done with Captain America recently, with his, like, anti-U.S. government sentiment lately, because
Mm-hmm.
Captain America would hate our government.
Oh yeah.
He would say, "No, you guys are fucking nuts. Are you like, it'd be one of those, are you shitting me right now? You're like, we just had, I think it was like 17 people vote against the anti-Asian hate, yeah,
Oh,
anti-Asian hate bill.
I think it was that to a magnitude of 10.
It was one vote in the House and like 63 are in the Senate or something like that.
I honestly think it was like 180 in the House.
Against in the
I'm gonna look at
House.
that. Okay, 63 Republicans against anti-Asian hate bill.
Yeah.
Okay, I was wrong.
And like, but you know, Captain America would look at that and basically be like, "What? Excuse me, excuse, sir, I'm gonna have to beat your ass," and he would proceed to beat their ass. Or
Yep.
what the Punisher says to those cops that have been idolizing him.
Oh yeah.
That was so impactful. Oh my god, I love the Punisher not because of not because of what he does, but because of what he tells people. Because he knows what he's doing is bad. Punisher, at the end of the day, he's going to end up killing himself. That character would kill himself once he has killed all the killers in the world. All the bad people in the world. He would shoot himself in the head because he's the last bad guy. That's the type of guy the Punisher is. So these cops had been basically idolizing the Punisher and going around and doing what the Punisher does, and the Punisher catches them doing it. And instead of killing them, which they should be blessed, those cops better be thinking they're lucky stars, because he says, they're like, "Oh, we're just doing what you do, man. We're so inspired by you." And he says, "You shouldn't be. Be more like Steve Rogers." Because his idol is Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing about the Punisher is that he's kicked the shit out of Steve Rogers before because he got in his way, but he idolizes him. That's his idol. That's how convicted this man is. And he's a good example of how to use a negative concept for good. The negative concept that is the Punisher. We shouldn't be going out and killing people just because they've shot someone. Me personally, if someone, but see, I'm the layman. I don't know any better. Realistically, what am I supposed to do if someone were to come up to me and point a gun at me? If I have the chance to defend myself, I'm gonna, right? But that doesn't make it right. I'm still gonna get charged. The government's still gonna try to charge me with murder, or attempted murder, most likely, because that's the way the government works. I don't agree with it, but that's how it works, and that's what happens, y'all. Like, we don't have the agency to go out and kill someone. There's very few people in our government that have that power. And it's been reserved for very powerful individuals. Which is why we shouldn't trust our government, but whatever. But, realistically, we see a lot of the good concepts of media, and we should be instilling ourselves with these concepts. Like, we should in ourselves be, we protect those around us. We protect those who are weaker than us. We should, we as a group should, we as individuals are not heroes, but we as a group are powerful, and that's the kind of stuff I want to see people incorporate more from media. Not necessarily what the heroes or villains do, but what do they espouse. Dr. Doom, right? One of the most nasty villains that we have ever seen in Marvel history. He's kind of he turns out he's got understandable motives.
Yeah.
To protect his country. Because the rest of the world is gonna come after them. The reason why Dr. Doom hates the American government so much is because he knows what they're about. He wants to take them out before they come and take the ones he cares about out. Same with Black Adam from DC. Like, he's a bad guy. He's a murderer. He's a genocidal maniac. But it's for the betterment of his home country. Like, those are real world concepts that are put into these. Like, me personally, I do believe in the betterment of those around me individually. Like, I try, if I could cause less harm to people I don't care about, sure, great, fine, fantastic. But at the end of the day, my most important people are what are going to be the most important to me. Now, am I going to go around killing a bunch of people because I'm afraid they're going to? No, because I understand fiction's not reality. I'm not going to copy what they do, but understand the concept as good. Again, a lot of the
Right.
villains we see in modern media have great intentions, poor execution,
Right.
extremely poor execution.
Extremely.
But not a lot of people jive with it. They don't get with the picture. Not really.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the danger that we look at every day when we see a lot of people who don't teach their kids better. That's
Yeah.
how you get and actually, you know what? No. Because what happened in Columbine, what happened with all these other schools, like, I hate that they try to blame media for it, like video games, TV shows, and stuff like that. That was very
Yeah.
much so a Christian Republican agenda to scare people.
Yeah. That was just not
That was just
paying attention.
that just was, you know. And before we log off this, I want to talk about something just because I'm curious what you think. So, and the reason why this can apply to our podcast is because media tried to blame the fact that Columbine shooters played Doom.
I remember that.
They played Doom and they're like, "Oh, this game is so violent and graphic. That's why these kids." No, these kids
Jack
were
Thompson.
they were sociopaths. But do you think that those games might have influenced them in any sort of way?
I played Doom.
I played
I
Doom
played
too.
the hell out of Doom.
But me and you also know in our heads that, I mean, we're not violent individuals. So let's take
Right.
away the layman out of this, right? Let's take the average person that can remove reality from fiction, right? That we can do that. Now let's add trauma survivors, right? People who haven't had proper treatment and help from there on. Now these are the individuals that I want to look at specifically, not your average person, but like those boys who were beaten and abused by their family, neglected by them, heroin addicts even. Do you think that the game could have affected them with their warped sense of reality? Because that's the question I always ask is, I could say, oh, I turned out fine, but in reality, I have therapy. I have a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've had a therapist. I broke my warped sense of reality was changed back to, like, I was snapped back to reality. But what about these individuals that don't have that? Do you think that the violent media could affect them at that point?
That's a good question.
And that's something that I might be able to Google and figure that out. But like, to me, it's just more of a concept as of right now. Is like, what if? What if the issue, as much as I hate to say it, what if the issue is the abuse cycles and the mental health stigma that we have in the United States? That's the real issue. I don't like how it gets twisted in oh, they're just having a bad day and they're mentally ill. That's wrong. That is wrong. We do not blame the mental illness themselves. We don't blame mentally ill people for this. But we can't ignore that as a factor. We just not with the knowledge that we have. Not the knowledge that I have personally. It's like you can't ignore it as a factor in this. As a warped sense of reality is that facet of it. Not the illness itself, but the facet of it.
You ever seen the video for Jeremy by Pearl Jam?
Mm-hmm. Oh. Hold
there
up.
you go.
Yeah, actually, that answers the question then.
Yeah.
That right there just answers the question. So basically, yeah, if someone has a warped sense of reality when they have no other influences around them except for maybe their their aggressive, violent friends and media, then it just takes a tipping point. But then again, that's also the other point there is like sometimes that has nothing to do with it, that they always were just a violent people. Huh. Pazuzu, actually, as another interesting example we could use. That guy. So Pazuzu, I don't know too much, but he was basically like this self-proclaimed demon cult dude. He was fucking weird. He was scary. Like, he's just one of those dudes. You walk into his house and you're like when people walked into his house, when the agents walked into his house, they were horrified to see what they saw, like jars of blood, organs, shit. Like, this dude was fucked up. It was a nightmare. It was like comparable to Jeffrey Dahmer type scary, like horrific nightmares. So like, so the influence of media is there, but it also isn't in that sense, though. Like, in reality, it's like it can be an influence, but ultimately, what is it more? More or less, they're products of their environment. So you can't blame it on any singular factor. You have to blame it on the environment as a whole. These shooters that go in and kill other people in mass shootings, they are very much so, it seems like, products of their environment. Like the Batman, that the dude who went in, very much so a product of his environment. Also, why the fuck aren't your guns locked up? But, you know, that's okay, yeah. So no, games and media are not the direct result of violence.
Right.
They just can't be, but they can factor in. Especially if you just surround yourself with only the violence in it and can't separate the reality from what you're seeing on a screen. Mad ravings. I hope you enjoyed them, guys. Well, no, you gotta. It's honestly, as much as it's a situation that kind of bothers me, I can't dismiss it. I really can't dismiss the fact that it can factor. Like, you can't just dismiss the allegations or the thought that why would someone think that a video game is influencing this? You look, if all you're seeing from the video game is, like, you know, a demon with its getting cut in half with a chainsaw, or in Call of Duty when you're just gunning down, you know, in Call of Duty, the Modern Warfare series, you're either fighting Russians, you're fighting Middle Eastern militia. Like, definitely doesn't help with people's racist ideas.
Are you familiar with Jack Thompson at all?
Jack Thompson, no, actually.
Okay, he was a lawyer.
The American activist?
Yeah.
Is what he's being referred to as here.
He was a lawyer that kept pushing the idea that video games were responsible, and he eventually got disbarred because he was so out there and so I guess so really out there with his protestations for it that he went over the edge basically, and he was so convinced that video games were the devil, that video games were responsible for all these violent murders and stuff like that, that he was trying to get them banned, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm reading this excerpt on him real quick right now.
Yeah.
This dude's a nutcase.
Yeah. He was a laughing stock, basically.
Yeah.
But he was one that was loud and taken seriously by media.
And that right there is the danger, right?
Yeah,
like that's the danger right there. Again, like, I don't believe the question in itself is harmful. I don't. I as someone that, like, believes in nurture versus nature, you know, I don't necessarily think that the question is harmful. I think it's a healthy question to question what is going through, like, what are we seeing and how appropriate is it that we're seeing this type of stuff. Me personally, as much as I was fascinated by World War II, it scarred me when I watched documentaries about it. It was scarring because you realize that people committed these wicked deeds. Like, really terrible. And for those who are not aware, even though chemical warfare was banned at this point in time, that didn't fucking stop anybody. Mustard gas is still being used. Other
Oh
chemical
yeah.
agents were still being used. Like honestly, America needed to be put on trial after what happened in Vietnam with Agent
Oh yeah.
Orange. Agent Orange, that's chemical warfare. We are forbidden from using it. But like when you see that, it is scarring. So like the question being out there of, is this okay for us to see? That's why we have TV ratings and stuff like that, you know. But it's when you get to the point of Jack Thompson where you're saying, "Oh, it is bad. It's bad because it's bad. It's bad. It's just bad. It's bad, guys. It's just bad." You really, because if I remember, he's the guy who argued against the GTA because you could have sex with strippers.
He was the hot coffee. He went to town on the hot coffee
Yep,
mod.
yep. He
Yeah.
was the hot coffee guy. He's the hot coffee guy.
Yeah.
So like what this guy literally did goes, "Oh, your kids can have sex in this game. You really want your kids to know about sex?" And he was a fucking weirdo. The second I looked him up and saw his face, I'm like, this guy.
Yep.
This guy. We saw, and this was recent too. Like this was in the past 15 years.
Yeah.
This guy was around, and like very problem. It's just a lot of problematic stuff. When you go to the extent that he did, instead of funding research and actually looking into it, that when you just make those blatant accusations just based off of what you're seeing and not liking it, that's where the problem comes. You have to ask these questions. The questions themselves are not inherently bad. You just have to put them in the right context.
Right.
I don't think, I honestly, at this point in time, I disagree with middle schoolers learning about World War II. Because that's when I learned about it. And I was not emotionally equipped to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's scarring. It's almost like emotional manipulation.
Yeah.
Because World War II, we all know what happened. That's a terrible time. And I was fascinated by it. Like, it was terrifying in the end. I like realizing all the really terrible things. Like, people give a lot of shit to Hitler, but we need to give just as much shit to like Mussolini. He was just as bad. Or Stalin. He's even worse in my opinion than Mussolini. For those of you who don't know, Stalin committed genocide in his own right. Not genocide, but mass homicide. Like it was really bad. But you know, I'm not gonna get into Russian politics. Again, not the area I'm gonna get into. But it was just not a good time. It was not a good time in the world. And I think we should do kind of like what we did for American history, where you learn it in bits and pieces as you get older. I think that's a better way to go about it. You know, once you reach high school, that's when you can start learning the really heavy stuff.
Yeah.
But the fact that I learned about genocide in 7th grade,
Yeah, that's a bit heavy.
I was also in Catholic school at the time, so who knows
Oh,
what
well,
actually
yeah.
I don't know what was going on in middle school. I took a lot of history courses throughout my my education. It was my favorite subject. It was the easiest subject for me.
Ah.
That's why I know so much and why I'm like, I dare someone to tell me I'm wrong with proof. And then I accept it when someone brings me proof. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But, you know, when it comes to like video game media, we seem to ignore a lot of like the negatives for it because we enjoy the games. I think it's important to be critical, which is why I feel like this is a role I bring in. Is I'm critical of a lot. I'm critical about even my favorite gaming companies because they give me my favorite games, and I'm extremely critical of Riot. Extremely critical of them.
Right.
Even though I really enjoy Valorant and League of Legends, like I really enjoy the games, but it doesn't mean I have to just accept the company is good just because I like their
Right.
games. It's that conundrum of just because you like it doesn't mean it's good.
Yup.
It's the Pulp Fiction conversation, as I like to call it. Is Pulp Fiction a good movie? In my opinion, yes. Do I like everything that happens in the movie? Fuck no.
Yeah.
I actually don't like Tarantino because of how racist
Yeah.
his how many racist ass scenes there are, and they're not
Yep.
period correct. Because I'll tell you flat out, in the 70s, you could not freely call someone the N word.
Yep.
Because the Black Panthers were a thing, my friend. They would come and fuck your shit up. Like, you could not freely say that. But, you know, that's their artistic. That's his artistic whatever. I disagree with it. But I like Pulp Fiction. I like the movie. I just don't like some things that happen in the movie. And I don't. Can we also talk about how like he's basically iconic for having white people say the N-word in his movies?
Right.
Like that's why he's iconic. It isn't like yeah, Pulp Fiction was written really well. The Hateful Eight was a decent movie. Like he's got a lot of really good movies out there. Django Unchained was fantastic in my opinion.
Yeah.
But holy hell, dude, how many white people are you gonna give the N card to?
I know.
And who gave you that fucking right? I know it wasn't Samuel L. Jackson, because he don't give a fuck enough to. Even though Samuel L. Jackson did say he doesn't give enough of a fuck to say something otherwise. He's like, I don't care. Yeah. It doesn't, because I don't blame Samuel L. Jackson. He's already done his fighting. He's old. He's probably tired of it. I can't blame him. And it's not my place to criticize.
Can we just take a second here, real quick, on the subject of old black guys? Paul Mooney.
Oh yeah.
Paul Mooney, comedian extraordinaire, passed away this past week. He was a writer for Richard Pryor. He had a segment on Chappelle's show. He was a tremendous stand-up comedian. If you haven't seen his work, please look it up. He was amazing. Rest in peace. Rest in power.
Rest in peace. Dude, a legend. Like, legendary comedian. Like, dude, we lost a legendary comedian, a legendary mangaka. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Like, this was a crazy week. Like, we lost just icons in several communities. That's crazy to think. Man. That's just crazy. Because, like, it can happen at any time. And it's just, you don't realize, really know who's going to be. Now, granted, people don't realize how old Berserk is. It is old. Actually, you know what? Here, let me see when the first issue of Berserk was released. Huh. November 26th, 1990 was when Berserk issue 1 or chapter 1 came out.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
Let's see. Kentaro Miura was 54 when he passed away earlier this month.
People also, here's the other thing, y'all. You guys have to understand though. Like, you'd be like, oh, they died so young. They did die young, but you also have to understand that when you are a writer, when you're artistic, when you have this artistic skill and value out there, it puts a lot of stress on you. It puts a lot of stress on your body, because your brain's just always working. You're like, what's the next big thing I can wow people with? It's why we see so many producers, editors, and stuff like that retire so young, is because they know, what's that movie with the dude who played Kylo Ren and I think it was Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, I know the one
where they used to be married and they're going through a divorce.
Yeah. It was a marriage story.
A marriage story. That right there exemplifies what it's like to be famous in the in any big community like that, in TV, writing, stuff like that. That right there is shit. The conversations and shit that's actually said between people, like that right there is actually realistic. And actually, I kind of want to give kudos for both performances in that movie, though. Because to me, when I was watching that movie, it actually felt like they really did love each other at one point. That they were just hurt. that life wasn't exactly what they pictured as,
Mm-hmm.
which is the sad reality of being in Hollywood. It is
Mm-hmm.
terrible. It is terrible. I mean, have you guys seen Mary Kate and Ashley lately? It's sad. Look at Macaulay Culkin before he got clean and sober.
Yeah.
Like, it is hard to be an actor. It is hard to be a director. It's hard to be a writer. It's hard to be a artist of any sort, any famous artist in any capacity. It's really difficult. So that's why we see a lot of people die so young. Comedians, they die old because laughter's the best medicine. You cannot convince me otherwise. They do. They're like, people don't realize there's an actual science behind it. Serotonin. When we find something funny, our body releases serotonin, and it actually helps our body keep going. It's essential for our body to keep functioning. So laughter is one of the best forms of medicine.
Mind you, not all comedians die late.
No.
There's a lot of, speedballs that come into play. Chris
Honestly,
Farley.
honestly, I'm surprised that Dave Chappelle's lived as long as he has.
You're
That
not
man
wrong.
did not take care of himself when he was younger. And honestly, I think he's kind of dated. You know, I'm probably going to be crucified for saying this. I don't like any of his new stuff. He's kind of hateful.
Yeah.
He's very bitter. I can't blame him. As one of the most premier activist comedians out there, I cannot blame the man for being bitter. But it shows. It shows in his recent specials on Netflix that he's very much so. He doesn't have his touch anymore. He's coming back because people want him to be back, and he seems kind of bitter about it. But that's okay. That's okay. I still enjoyed some of his jokes.
I haven't seen this new stuff. I just,
It's offensive.
yeah.
It's offensive. Flat out. I mean, it's Dave Chappelle. Like, it is traditional Dave Chappelle, but it feels almost needlessly offensive,
Yeah.
to a degree. But he does a lot of his, activist jokes. I'm just a huge fan of his older stuff. I love the Chappelle show, Dave Chappelle show. Like, it was great. I probably shouldn't have watched it, but it's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom can't tell me what to do. Hi, Mom, if you're watching. But I don't really have much else for today.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you for everybody for coming by today. Today was a little weird. A lot of weird bouncing all around the place. A lot of crazy stuff has happened. A lot of big media stars have just sadly left this plane of existence. So hopefully we do keep some of our favorites here still. Some sad stories, some good stories, some weird stories. Definitely weird stories going on in popular media right now. But I really appreciate the support. I'll let Angie take it from here while I drop my links.
All right. Well, thank you for watching the Windows XP's podcast over here on Twitch, twitch.tv/Prestine_P. I can be found on waytooLateTV.com. Prestine can be found at twitch.tv/Prestine_P or linktr.ee/Prestine_P. And since it is my birthday tomorrow, please enjoy a grilled cheese sandwich in my honor.
Will do.
Awesome.
Don't gotta tell me twice.
We'll be back in 2 weeks. Not this Sunday, but the Sunday after for 4:30 p.m. Pacific time with more Windows XP podcast. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you then.
Peace out, everybody.